Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs. If you had it back there and you're looking for a smile, bringing hope and joy for a day that was wild. Stuff from the cuffs is here to make things bright. In a world so dark, they bring us some light. Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs. Go Bria, go Bill, go Bess, go Brian. Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs.
What's up, Cufflinks family? Wagwan. Welcome back to another video right here on Stuff from the Cuffs, where we give you fire. We give you fun, inspiration, we're real, and we're educational. If you are new to the channel, my name is Basilia, and this is...
Brian.
Yes.
Tenants in the building.
Thank you guys so very much for tuning into another video. It is our absolute pleasure to be here with you another time. And of course, being real about something else, yeah? So you see the title of this video, we are talking about some things that you should do before you say, I do. Yeah? And today's video is based on something we actually saw on Instagram. So tell us about what we saw on Instagram, and then we'll get into it.
All right, so it's looking at some of the things that you should know by what you see before someone gets married. So, before you get married, you think about what is a person like, you think about where is the person from, what can the person bring to the table. But I remember seeing a picture some time ago where it said that the most important thing before getting married is seeing the person in slow Wi-Fi. And especially in this day and age, I think it's important to know some of the things that you should see, or some of the traits that you should look for in different types of circumstances that will show some parts of our character that aren't necessarily seen in the good times. So we're looking at 5 things you should know before you say I do.
All right, so the post on Instagram says, Tyler Perry said before you marry someone, you need to see them in 5 seasons. You need to see them when they're happy, when they're mad, when they're stable, when they're broke, and when they're hurt. And he further went on to state that this is real because sometimes we wonder why people change on us, and it's not really that they've changed, it's just who they are under certain conditions. Yeah, so let's talk about happy, mad, stable, broke, and hurt. Now, when you're in the dating phase and you literally see the best of somebody. People are putting out their best emotions, their best behavior, they're putting their best foot forward. And so you really don't get to see them in different spaces based on their circumstances. So the reasoning of Tyler Perry is that you need to see them under these 5 conditions so that you know exactly what comes out of them when they're squeezed. So let's talk about why it's important to see them when they're happy.
Happiness is, they say, is surrounded by what is happening. So your happiness is based on what's happening. And we know in life there will be different times and different days. So one of the things is to see the person when there are happy moments. What are they like? Are they humble? Are they over the moon? Are they going to exaggerate? Are they going to be so on top of the world that if they come back down, it's going to devastate them for the rest of their lives? You need to understand that it's not just about seeing them in happy moments, but understanding what happens to them in those happy moments. So I think it's important. You don't want it to be that when you are happier, and when they're happy, they're like, if you can't deal with that level of happiness, you are going to be causing some type of conflict or tension. Because if you can't understand why are they so happy and how they respond when they're happy, and when they're happy and you're happy, and it's going to be like, but you're not really happy. You say, yes, I am. This is my happy. And they'll be like, no, but you're not. It can cause conflicts.
Yeah, so you need to understand how that person interprets happiness. Some people, when they're happy, they are as dry as like
type
dry.
LOL. Type LOL. Inside, you're bubbling in, you're right, LOL.
And your face straight, right? So knowing how that person reacts when they're happy will help you to understand their emotions and understand how they react to things. Some people I know, when they're like very happy, they get like very excited, and sometimes it's also embarrassing for those who are with them, but that's just how they are when they're happy. So it's very important that we see and know when persons are happy and see how they react, so that we know how to deal with what comes with it. See them when they're mad.
Angry, cross, miserable.
The slow Wi-Fi.
No, not just that, but anything in particular these days, especially in a tense life that we're now in, times are so tense and unique. You get easily irritated or ticked off, and it's important to see the person in these situations. One, you'll get an understanding of what are some of the things that trigger them. Two, you'll get an understanding of what they're like. And three, you will see if you can manage to deal with what they're like.
When they're mad.
It's important that you don't just see it and be like, oh, so you're gone, but can I live with that?
Yeah. I know we've watched movies and we've seen people talk about it all over, when the person gets mad after they've gotten married and they wonder, where did this monster come from? Or where did this person come from? This is not the person I married. Actually, yes, it's just that probably during the dating phase, you never really saw them upset. And so you did not see how they dealt with those emotions of anger, and you never really saw how they reacted to certain things. And so, as the post was saying, sometimes it's not that people change, it's really the fact that you have not seen them in certain situations before, and so it probably comes as a surprise to you. But I want to point out the fact that you may not see people in these situations
And
in the dating phase. You may not.
This is where I am going to get controversial. You may not see people in these situations because you're not around them that much, or you're not dating for that long. Sometimes you need to manufacture some of these situations so that you can see what the person is like. We'll talk about that at the next time. But sometimes you need to manufacture some of these situations
Oh my goodness.
to see what the person is like.
So you purposely get them upset to see how they're going to. I know somebody who did that already, because they have never seen the person upset, and they're like, how they say, what's the saying, that still water runs deep, silent river runs deep. And so they're saying, no, I need to see him upset, because at one point or the other, he have to get upset. He's bound to get upset. So I want to know what he's like when he's upset. And they actually manufacture. But that's something that we'll talk about in another video. Let us know in the comments if you agree with that, with just seeing how they are in that kind of situation. All right, the next one is seeing the person when they're stable. Meaning, everything is all right, everything is going good,
smooth sailing,
no problems,
mundane, day to day. And for me, I think this is so interesting, because stability is something that hardly happens, and in some cases it is something that some people do not want. Yes, I said it. There are people who want to be on the mountaintop. There are some people who want to be in the valley. But there are some people who cannot deal with normal,
like being in the middle,
day-to-day activities. They need to have the thrills, or they need to be fighting in a struggle. Yeah.
Wow.
And
I'm not one of those people.
Trust me, there are some people who can, if they get up every day and it is the same, or the routine remains, they are going crazy. So you need to see what that is like for them. And there are going to be times in life when it happens, But are they going to go seeking the thrill, or are they going to be seeking the depressing times? There are people who pity party. Yeah, we've all been there at some point in time. But it's important, because if you have a normal life per se, what is that person going to be like? If every day you get up and you cook fried chicken, what is the person going to be like? Or is that somebody you can live with who cooks fried chicken only every single day?
Well, for me, in terms of seeing the person when they're stable from a spiritual standpoint, and I know Brian is always the one putting on the spiritual standpoint, but if everything is going fine and no troubles, no like hard times or nothing like that, is that person still choosing to spend time in the presence of the Lord? Is that person still praying as much? Or is it only when they find themselves in the valleys that they decide to call on Jesus. So you need to know how this person reacts when things are going fine. Yeah.
Amen, Pastor Basilia.
Whatever.
Broke. My broke. Not money. Nothing.
And
Dry.
for those who are overseas and you don't really understand what Brian just said, he just said, I don't have any money at all.
$0. Finito.
Zero.
Can't buy a bag juice.
You need to see the person when they're broke. Why? Because being broke leads to a lot of other emotions and it leads to a lot of other things. So how does this person deal with not having any money?
Are they broke with no ambition? Or are they broke with a plan? You know, it's important.
Are they broke with an ambition? Are they broke with a plan? Are they broke and constantly feeling miserable, angry, and upset because of the situation? Taking it out on you.
It's your fault.
Are they trying to find other avenues of revenue, or do they just sit back and say, well, if it's dirt, it's dirt. So whatever happens, happens.
There you go.
Because, in marriage, you're not going to always have it like you want it. You're not going to always have the stability. What happens when those rough patches come, those financial rough patches? Because unless you really have the money stuck on pile, it not really running out, those tough financial days do come. How will you deal with it as a couple? How would you deal with it as individuals? I think it's very important because that triggers so many other emotions. Are they optimistic about better days to come? Or do they have a pessimistic spirit like, this is the end of days and we're never getting out of this? Are they proactive with trying to see, all right, how can we better this situation? Or are they like, well, you go and figure it out. I do all I can do already. You go and figure it out. It's very important to see them in these kind of situations as well. Yeah. And the last one we're looking at is seeing the person when they're hurt.
I'm not telling you to go and factor any hurt and hurt anybody.
No.
But hurt is a part of life. If you're a human being, you're going to hurt at some point in time. If you're a human being. So if you've never hurt, then you need to check yourself. But the point is, there's a saying that hurt people hurt people. But I think there's a next side. I was just here thinking about it. There are hurt people who help people. It may be rare, and it may be not in the moment as much as you would like, but there are people who are hurting, and because they're hurting, they go about in so many different ways trying to help somebody else. Generally speaking, though, most hurt people. So you need to see how the person deals with hurt. One, is it that they are hurt and they go about hurting you or hurting other people because they don't want to be the only ones hurt? Or are they hurt and seeking healing? Yeah? Are they hurt and trying to seek to help themselves and help others in the midst of their pain? Or are they just so in pain that they're tearing everything around them down? Their businesses, their family, their relationships, their finances. What happens when they hurt? And it's so important because, as Bas said earlier, we always put the best foot forward. Yeah? What about when there's no shoe on the foot?
Yeah. And it could also be an indicator to you after marriage to know that something is off. Especially with our men, they don't always wear their emotions on their sleeves. But based on how they act or how they react to certain things, you can probably tell. Maybe because you've seen it before, you can probably tell that they're probably hurting because he's not normally like this. He doesn't normally respond to me like this. He doesn't normally hurt my feelings like this. So probably he is hurting. So apart from just seeing them in that situation, it could also be an indicator as to what that person is going through, something that they may not necessarily want to talk about right away. And so it's also a way to know your partner better so that you can understand their language.
Yeah, that's it. Knowing persons in different situations before saying I do. The grass is not always greener on the other side. It is going about and finding out when to weed out some, when to cut the lawn, when to add a little bit of mulch, yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, we need to till the soil. There's so many different things you need to know in different situations or circumstances. And it's so important that then, when you understand all of these things, you now know how to go about making the grass greener on every side. Same thing about a relationship. When you see these situations and you see persons in these circumstances, you now know or have a better understanding of how to deal with when they come into your relationship. So.
And yes, it's as the post said, it's not necessarily that they've changed, but they are just in a different mood
Situation
or
when you saw them in
situation,
the first place.
yeah, that has caused them to be acting this way. And so, marriage is it can be so complex sometimes, but it's just a part of the whole package. It's just a part of the process. And in order to make our marriages work, these are some things that we need to think about. Yeah, something that we need to think about. So guys, let us know in the comments what you think, and if there are other things that you think we should keep in mind as it relates to seeing persons in different situations. Be sure to leave those comments right below. All right, thank you guys so very much for watching another video right here on Stuff from the Cuffs, where we give you fire, we give you fun, inspiration, we're real, and we're educational. Be sure to like this video, leave us a comment, and if you're new, subscribe before you go. Thank you guys so much. We'll have another video soon.
Go breathe.